Well, leadership does not happen unless there's discomfort. I have to not like a current set of circumstances enough to be willing to do something, to engage, to make something different. And that's what your young person did.
Welcome, my friends, to the Teacher's Lounge, where the coffee is strong, the ideas are buzzing, and the conversation is even stronger. I'm your host, Mik Love, and we're here to discuss how culture, created in the classroom or the boardroom, can elevate us all. I have some fantastic guests that will join me in having this conversation, and I look forward to it. So sit back, relax, and grab your favorite beverage, because this riveting conversation is one you don't want to miss. Dr. Morgan, we talk about ownership in so many different ways. What is ownership to you, and how is that showing up each and every day with those that you lead? And you have children. How are you hoping it transfers to them?
Yeah. You know, I think it's a really interesting question. We don't talk a whole lot about ownership per se in the world that I live in, but what my definition would be the opportunity to see and seize moments to make a difference, to intervene, to change your community, to change your personal circumstance. When folks have an opportunity to do the things that they know move something forward, that to me is ownership. And it doesn't mean something necessarily that you hold in your hand, but something that you can actually touch with your hands.
Ownership to me is powerful. I think it is taking back, being able to dream again, and to figure out where your spot is in this great big beautiful world. And it's okay to be you.
That right there, it just triggered something in my head that I saw on Instagram, and it said the person who is willing to unlearn the behaviors of the past. Unlearn the behaviors of the past. I think we all went to school and it was a certain way.
Yeah.
But the world is different. Our kids are different.
Yep.
The teachers' needs are different. But to this question is to both of you, and you think about ownership. How are you, or what are you hoping for that a student takes from that classroom with ownership, leadership, freedom, and responsibility? And by the time they get to you and those business professionals, that they're ready to exercise on. And what are we doing together to make sure that we achieve that outcome?
Yeah.
Can I share a quick story
Sure.
about that example? So I had a student when I was in Augusta that really wanted to be an auto mechanic. The Augusta High School did not have a class for that. The students could travel into WSU Tech and take a class, but there wasn't transportation. He did not have a vehicle to get him there. So I said, okay, what are we going to do? This is your project. Let's figure out how we can bring it to Augusta High School. So we looked through contacts, and we invited Schofield Honda, Allen's Excavating. We invited all these business community leaders that want mechanics in their shops, and he put together a PowerPoint, and he leaned in and said, this is why we need this. And I was visiting with the principal even today at Augusta, and it looks like it's going to come to the high school. But through that whole process of him talking to those business community leaders, he got an internship at one of our local dealerships where he can continue to pursue his passion, and he has graduated and he's continuing on and taking classes. But I think it was putting it back into his hands and saying, okay.
You said seize the opportunity.
Yeah,
So.
right. The agency.
The agency.
Right? The person with the principal didn't go ask the business community. The superintendent didn't go ask the business community. Those are the people with authority in the system. The person who was able to get some traction on the issue was a kid.
And he had the passion, and when he presented it, those leaders are saying, but we want you.
Yeah. Well, leadership does not happen unless there's discomfort. I have to not like a current set of circumstances enough to be willing to do something, to engage, to make something different. And that's what your young person did. So I think to the degree that K-12 and even beyond, that we're helping people understand that if you don't see a thing, or the thing you see doesn't work for you, you have an obligation.